I want to talk about where we are, where we're going, and then we'll wrap it up into the fall season. I want to bring in our AccuWeather hurricane expert, Dan Kottlowski, this morning here on AccuWeather early. And before we get to what's going to happen, Dan, impressions to what has already happened this season.
Well, it looks like we've had, we've had 5 storms, including the updated storm in January, but basically we've had 4 in the actual tropical season, which is a little bit above normal. Normally we would not see storm 3 until early August, and now we've already had 4 in the early part of the season, 5 including the one in January. But basically, the numbers are higher than normal as far as that's concerned. Also, one of the other variables we look at is the ACE, accumulated cyclone energy. That's also up this year as well. But the heart of the season is what we look at very closely. That's basically from the latter part of August through September. That's where we get a lot more activity. But in the early season, the numbers are mathematically up. But as far as Paul mentioned in his segment there, we have not seen any big damage just yet.
You know, really quickly, if we could take this graphic full for 1 second here, you can see the names of the storms. You know, it's been relatively quiet for now, Dan. Really quickly, what we've seen so far the last couple of weeks is what we normally see. That is a lot of dry air. You can see that with the yellow and orange shading, and a lot of wind shear.
Exactly. It's the dry, stable air that usually cuts down on the storms. If there's shear like there has been this year, that adds to the problems. That's why we haven't really seen any big development. Again, waters are very warm, so when there's opportunity there, less shear and less dry air, yeah, you're going to get quick development.
Yeah, let's really quickly look at those water temperatures. You were mentioning that. So even though we have a lot of warm water, these are the anomalies because of the wind shear and the dry air. We haven't had much. But then typically, and you and I were just talking about this, as you get in the mid to late August, it's not like the dry air and wind shear go away, but they start to lessen a little bit. And that's when we get the heart of the season. What do you think the heart of the season is going to be like this year?
Well, I think the heart of the season is going to be like a normal season. I think we're going to see, around 3, maybe 4 storms in August, and anywhere from 5 to maybe 6 in September. And then we'll see a slackening off in October. Keep in mind that El Nino is going to get stronger and stronger as we go through the month of September into October. And usually when it happens, the shear really becomes more dominant.
Yeah, and let's talk about that, Dan, because during an El Nino, and this was what you guys were facing when you were our long-range forecast team, when you were making this forecast months in advance, during El Nino, you typically get less activity in the Atlantic Basin, and you kind of think that that may ramp up a little bit this year as we get toward the fall.
Well, we've had more storms this year simply because there's a lag between La Nina and El Nino. So we think that lag has been a lot more impressive this year. So therefore, the 4 storms that we had during June and July, early July, they were basically because we still had that lingering La Nina pattern. But now as we go into El Nino, more shear, less chance for opportunity as we would normally see. But the water temperatures are warm, and again, we're going into that sweet spot of the season.
Dan, really quickly in about 10, 15 seconds, if you don't have already a hurricane plan along the coast, you need to get one.
Exactly. Please get your hurricane plan in place because we could get very active here especially late August into September.